So I'm 43 years old. Okay, I have a full-time job, I have a family, I have a house, and I just built a fully functional SaaS product that already has users without writing a single line of code. And all this for less than the cost of a night out. So if you ever thought it's too late to start, this video is proof that it's not. Now, I've always wanted to build something of my own, but like most people, I have no idea how to code. Okay, I know the basics, I know HTML, I know CSS, but when it comes to start stuff more complicated, forget it. Goes whoosh, straight over my head. And when you're working a 9 to 5, like myself, and probably the majority of the population, the last thing you want to do is go back and then stare at a screen with loads of random digits and numbers and letters. And because I'm a tight asshole, hiring a developer was not an option for me. And I really didn't have a big budget in the first place. So I had to try and find a way of building something without actually spending much money, which is pretty difficult. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I did it and how you can do it too. So before we jump in, please hit the like button, please hit the subscribe button. Join me on my journey as I try and quit the 9 to 5 job. Okay, it's going to happen. Like I said before, it's going to happen. There's signs of it starting to happen already. But I want to help you guys along the way. If you're trying to do the same thing I'm doing, let's do this together. Help each other out. We can do this. Let's crack on. So section 1, the build. Fortunately, we now live in a time where we have AI at our fingertips. It's never been easier to have access to information, with the click of a button. And the people who see this and use this to their advantage will be the ones who thrive in the coming years. And you can literally be as stupid as a lump of pig shit and still be able to start a business. And trust me when I say anyone can do it. I'm not Brain of Britain, okay? I didn't do particularly very well at school. I would classify myself as a stupid motherfucker, to be perfectly honest, but I've managed to do this. If I can do it, you can do it too. It just needs determination and a plan. So how are we going to do this? How are we going to build something that looks overly complicated to the user, but if we're leveraging AI correctly, is actually not that complicated at all? So if you're building a SaaS or an app like I am, and I'm probably guessing you are if you're watching this video, then you only really need 2 tools. The first one is ChatGPT. Okay, you need that for your information. That's essentially your business co-pilot. And then you need something called Lovable. Okay, Lovable is a no-code AI-driven platform. There are several different ones out there, but I find Lovable is the easiest to use, and it's the best. Okay, not the cheapest, but like with anything in this world, you get what you pay for. So with Lovable, it's a monthly subscription, but they've got several different tiers where you're essentially buying credits per month. So it's like a pay as you go. You get, say, for example, you do the $50 a month subscription. I think you get 200 credits. So essentially you get 200 questions for the AI to build something, build your product. So how did I use ChatGPT in conjunction with Lovable to build my SaaS CTR loop? Well, firstly, ChatGPT actually came up with the idea for CTR loop after I prompted it to come up with, I think, 20 different business ideas to do with YouTube. And you can do this as well, to be perfectly honest. Just type into ChatGPT, give me 20 business ideas that have been validated and put a unique twist on them. And that's essentially what I did with getting the idea for CTR loop. So after I nailed down my initial idea, I then asked ChatGPT to essentially research my competitors, how much they make annually, what their flaws are, and basically what we can do to improve on their flaws and how I could make CTR loop slightly different. And then once I was happy with the direction that we were going in, the plan going forward, I then instructed ChatGPT to write a prompt for Lovable to build me the first draft of this app. And this is where actually a lot of people make a mistake. They type in directly to Lovable to give it an instruction, whereas actually what they should be doing is using ChatGPT to produce their prompts. Okay, it will give you a much more detailed prompt, and it will just be far easier for Lovable to understand exactly what you want and exactly what you want to achieve. Okay, so section 2, the struggle. I don't want to make this sound like it's all a complete bed of roses, because it's not. You're going to have setbacks. And this is where it almost fell apart for me. If you're building something very complicated for your first app, you're really going to struggle with it, okay? I did that and I really struggled, but I pulled through in the end. It can be done, but it's very, very challenging. I recommend building something that doesn't involve APIs. Now, what's APIs? API is essentially something where you can borrow data or use data from an external source. And setting up APIs can be quite tricky and quite problematic. So like I say, if you're building your first product, I would essentially leave that for the time being, build something a lot more basic, and then do that for your second product. And after a week or two of actually building this product, the realization hits that nobody might actually use it. And this is the trap that most people fall into. And that's why it's so important that you have to validate your idea first. Okay. Because there's no point building something that nobody's going to use. If there's no demand for it, then you're not going to make any money from it. So if you find yourself doing this, okay, if you're spending weeks and weeks building something without actually validating it, then you have to pivot fast. You need to pause your building at that point and start researching, join Reddit groups, join Facebook groups, go on X, tell people what you're building, and see if there's any reaction to it. If there is a reaction to it, then fantastic, carry on your building. If there's no reaction or people saying it's a stupid idea, then you need to scrap that idea straight away and then work out something new. Okay, so section 3, the launch. Now, I did a whole video on this fairly recently, okay? Launch day is not what you expect it to be. Most people expect a flood of money to come in. They expect a flood of users to come in on day one. It doesn't work like that. Unless you're a well-established indie hacker who's got a huge following, or you've been actively promoting your products for weeks and weeks, getting people to sign up to a pre-launch newsletter or a waiting list or something like that. It's just not going to happen. Okay, you've launched something new to the world. The world doesn't care about your SaaS at the moment. People are too busy living their lives, so they don't care about what you've just launched. That's why at this point it's so important to build your audience. Okay, join X. X is an amazing place to get your SaaS out there. Join Reddit. Like I say, Facebook groups. You need to start getting people, people to care about your SaaS. You need people to know about it. You need to start driving traffic to your SaaS straight away, to your website. And don't be surprised that you don't get any users for a few days. That's just how it is. That's part of it. It doesn't mean it's failed. It just means that nobody cares enough about it yet, or you've not found the right audience to care about it. So it might take 4 or 5 days. It might take a few weeks, but keep persisting with it. If you validated the idea early on, then you're onto something. You just got to get the world to see it. Okay, so section 4, lessons and next step. Okay, so here's what I've learned with building a SaaS for around $100. So the first lesson I learned is that you have to start small. The first version of your app or your SaaS should embarrass you. Okay, it should look like a piece of shit, because at this point in time, it's not important. You shouldn't be worrying about the visuals. Okay, you should not be worrying about having fancy animations or fancy looking buttons. This point in time, you just have to get something out there, something for the world to see, and all of that stuff can come later on down the road, okay? Because you don't want to keep wasting time building something that might not necessarily work for you. And lesson 2, talk to users. Like I discussed, and I've mentioned so many times in my other videos, is that you have to talk to users first. You have to get that validation to make sure people will use it, and more importantly, people were actually willing to pay to use it. And like I said, join X, join Reddit, Facebook groups. There's tons of these groups out there that you can just chat to random people. They might give you some inspiration, some better ideas, or how you can make these features more sort of desirable. Don't make the mistake I made on my first SaaS. Okay, please just promise me you ain't going to do that, because it's soul destroying when you're spending months and months and months building something and no one gives a shit. There's nothing worse than that. So it's so important to do this, and it really doesn't require a lot of effort. So doing this could just save you weeks or even months of wasted build time. Okay, so lesson 3, grow an audience. You are far more likely to succeed if you have an audience. Okay, it's possible to do it without an audience, but if you have an audience, it just makes the whole process a lot easier. And this is exactly why you see so many people say build in public. It just drives curiosity to, it builds trust. You're more likely to hand your money over to someone that who is behind the product. And this is why it's so important to do these videos on X, or have your own YouTube channel. You can explain, you can get over what you're building, you can document the entire process. You're driving in traffic, you're driving viewers in, and you never know, some of these viewers might become your customers in the future. Look, it's not easy getting in front of a camera, and I know a lot of people will be thinking to themselves, "Oh, I'm no good at talking in front of a camera. I've got nothing to say." Well, I felt like that. Okay, I felt exactly like that. I felt I'm no good in front of a camera. No one's going to want to watch what I'm doing. Yes, I've now got 93 subscribers. It's very, very small compared to a lot of people out there, but I'm still a very young channel. And the fact that I've got 93 subscribers shows that people are actually willing to watch my content. So with that, the more subscribers you get, the more confidence you get, and the easier you'll find it is to grow, and the better the videos that you can make as well. So like I say, if you are struggling with the thought of doing it, give it a go. There's actually loads of videos out there that can give you guidance on YouTube about how to start. You can do courses on this sort of thing. I don't think you need to do that, to be honest. I think you just need to get a camera and just crack on with it and just start practicing. Right, okay, so I'm going to wrap this video up now. Hope you've got some value from it. Like I say, you're not too old to do this. I'm 43 years old. There's people in their 50s and 60s doing this. You don't need to have a huge budget. I've done this for, just around probably over $100, and you don't have to be brain of Britain. Okay, there's loads of people who are doing this, who are but really not particularly very intelligent people. I'm one of them. I'm proof that you can do this. So if I can do this, you guys can do it too. There's a video above of my launch day. Go and check it out. It's worth a watch. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, please do so. Come on my journey. Watch me quit my 9 to 5. If you're already watching this video, you're likely trying to take the same journey I am. Let's do it together. We can do it. And I'll see you all soon.